Season 1 of MAZ Mondays is sponsored by Rewind Collectibles. Link in the description, the best retro gaming shop in the UK.
Finally, MAZ has come back to YouTube. Well, let me tell you something, brother. Wrestling games over the years haven't all been great, and that's a stone cold fact. While some games like No Mercy on the N64 was considered the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, some games are so bad you just want to say, suck it. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. So, I have a question. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready? Ooh, yeah!
A few moments later.
So, let's take a look at what game is coming up first while I go and get that belt back.
We all know that Hulk Hogan is a piece of shit, but something that you may not know is that his games are absolutely dog shit too, with Hulk Hogan's main event having impressively piss poor reviews across the board.
I can think of 100 things I'd rather be doing than playing this piece of shit game, but apparently a YouTube channel needs content, so here we go. Not only is it a bad game with a fucking shit mascot, you've also got to use the Kinect. Fuck me. Okay, let's roll.
The fact that this game was developed by a company called Panic Button should have been a genuine warning to us all, a real red flag. First of all, you have the bollock of setting up the Kinect itself, and then... Wait a minute, where have I seen that before? This game is an insult to game development, and I'm not joking at all. I know that I sounded disparaging during the intro, but seriously, this is hands down the worst wrestling game I have ever played in my entire life. Go on, in the comments, name a worse one, I'll wait. This shouldn't even be classed as a wrestling game, this is essentially a giant game of slaps. Yeah, because that's what people enjoy about wrestling, when both guys stand there like fucking idiots just slapping each other around. Now, I know what you're thinking, what does this guy know about backyard wrestling? Well, I've got a little bit of a secret to share with the group. Yes, this is me at 16 backyard wrestling with my good friend Randy Savage here. Oh, and I'll now be referred to as Inferno moving forward. My back has literally never recovered.
You know what? I'm absolutely not a fan of the Kinect. This is actually pretty good training in case Macho Man tries anything again, you know what I mean? Oh shit! That was a genuine mistake. Did not mean to hit you whatsoever. Honestly, that was a genuine mistake. Didn't mean to... Oh! 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 This is fucking ridiculous. Do you want to just play WCW and WWF Thunder on PS1?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah? Come here. That's fucking stupid. Let's just go.
Featuring a stacked roster including Bret Hart, Sting, DDP, Kevin Nash and the like, Thunder should have been a surefire hit after the relative success of WCW vs NWO World Tour and WCW NWO Revenge on the N64. And speaking of that stacked roster, you can unlock some incredible extra characters including Wireframe Man, Short Circuit, a horse, a gorilla, even a praying mantis. Seriously, who doesn't want to see a horse powerbombing a two-headed man? Or a praying mantis being suplexed by a member of the backstage crew? Amazing. And then we got onto the gameplay itself. The characters all kind of walk around as if they've got a stick up their ass, just shuffling around the ring like a fucking low-budget zombie in a horror movie. Secondly, the moves themselves are really, really hard to land. The punches and kicks just seem to miss quite often, even if you're directly in front of someone, and the controls just feel a bit sticky. Bear in mind, this game came out 6 months before SmackDown, also on the PS1, and the fact that both games are both published by THQ makes it even more baffling that this one is just piss poor in comparison. In SmackDown, if I want to perform a finisher, I stand in the correct position and press L1. Bang, there's your finisher. So in Thunder, if you want to perform a finisher, you have to memorise several different button combinations that can't be accessed from anywhere in the game. So let's say that you're using a wrestler for the very, very first time, maybe Kevin Nash. In order to perform his finisher, you need to get his finisher bar to the right level, and then remember that his finisher is up square, X square. Including all of the unlockable characters, there's 64 wrestlers in this game, meaning that you need to memorise 64 button combinations in order to play the game correctly. So Lex Luger's is up triangle square triangle, for Roddy Piper it's back triangle circle circle, for Macho Man, well, you see my point. Also bear in mind that this game came out before most people had access to the internet, so to look it up you have to pause the game and flick through an instruction manual. not ideal. Overall, certainly not a terrible game, but not one that I could really recommend to anyone when the same era had SmackDown, No Mercy and WCW vs NWO Revenge, all of which are 10 times more playable.
Up next is WWF WrestleMania Challenge on the NES. Actually, I've only got one controller for that, you can probably head off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you piece of...
WWF WrestleMania Challenge was released by LJN in the 90s. Wait, LJN? Where do I know that name from? Well, it turns out the guys at LJN had a great idea. Let's create a diagonal, isometric wrestling game in an era where analog sticks literally don't exist. That's right, we're going to go diagonal with a D-pad. Genius. The biggest issue in this game is trying to actually hit anyone is like punching smoke. Look at this. The bigger issue though is that the game is just so unsatisfying. The gameplay, the graphics, everything just needed to be scrapped and started again from scratch. I have a theory that several development teams within LJN around this time had a wager over who could create the worst wrestling game. They'd all be sitting around and high-fiving each other in the office every week when Peak from Testing came up with another absolutely dogshit idea about making a game where the steel cage would cover 70% of the screen and make it literally impossible to see any actual wrestling, like in WWF Steel Cage Challenge. The next week, Linda in HR has an amazing idea to make a game where every single character has identical movesets and making it so you literally can win any match at all just by pressing the same button over and over again for 2 straight minutes, like in WWF King of the Ring. The guy that came up with diagonal rings in a world full of analog controllers probably got promoted for it. That's the only possible explanation I'm going to take from this. From bad games to good though, we are going to give a shout out to an unsung hero of the old school wrestling video game genre, and that is WWF Rage in a Cage. Rage in the Cage came out in 1993 on the Sega Mega CD and was released by Acclaim. Now, some people call this a spin-off or twin of some of the earlier 16-bit LJN games, but I will say this, they're certainly not identical twins, because this one actually feels like a real genuinely playable wrestling game. Featuring a stacked roster, including The Undertaker, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels and the like, this game is one of my absolute favourites of this era and one that I still play today. The CD capabilities of the Mega CD are in full use here, with additions such as voiceover work from the wrestlers themselves and even Vince McMahon. The game modes are decent with either a single match, a brawl, a cage match or a tournament available. The single match is pretty self-explanatory, the brawl mode is where there is no referee and you have to knock your opponent clean out. A cage match, as shown here, is where... Wait, hang on a minute. Wait a fucking minute, whoa, you know the rules wrestling games, that's not how this works. Wrestlers trying to climb a cage need to be imitating this guy. Slow and steady boys, slow and steady. He's supposed to be moving like an arthritic pensioner who's just had back surgery. Take SmackDown here on the PS1. They get it right. Look at The Rock here, moving like he's just shit himself. That's exactly what you need from a game like this. Good graphics, great gameplay. For me, one of the absolute best wrestling games of this era.
You've only got yourself to blame.
No.
Oh. So we've shown you the good, the bad and the even worse of the wrestling genre. If you think you can challenge me for this belt, let me know in the comments. But joking aside, if you've enjoyed the content today, please do like and subscribe. I've been Matt from MAZ Gaming. Have a nice day.